I'm on in my kitchen. Hey, I want to try something today. I did this a couple weeks ago. This is going to be another macaroni show, by the way. We did the broccoli, but I started this little game with myself a few weeks ago. Out of nowhere, I was in the market shopping. I make up games, you know. I like to play with myself. I just make up these little things to keep myself amused. And this one was, you know, I make penne with vodka sauce, fusilli with chopped meat and fresh ricotta, linguine with clams. These are the pastas that I grew up with, that I know. But there's all these crazy names, crazy cuts, crazy shapes. So I started recently, not every time, I always keep my staples in the pantry, but every other shopping trip or whatever, I'm like, let me get a box of macaroni that I'm not familiar with. I never heard that name before. And then the game part is, by the cut, by the shape, by the texture, what to do with it when I get home. And I usually don't shop for it. It's like, what's in the house that I think is going to work with this macaroni. So today, I got, and some of you might know it, it's not that unusual, but I've never had it. Fettuccine, okay? It's kind of like a, it's actually quite nice. I love capellini. This is bigger than capellini. It's even a little bigger than vermicelli, but thinner than spaghetti, but almost like a spaghetti, just a little barrel. So, what am I going to do with this tonight? Let's go find out. Okay, so I thought about this after I got it home, the fettuccine. What to do with this nice little pasta. I'm going to keep it real simple. Here's what I've got. Strained tomatoes. And the reason I'm using these as opposed to like a nice can of San Marzano Romas peeled is I want that super silky. Yeah, I could open a can and pop them in the Cuisinart, whatever, but you know what? This is a nice handy little thing. Super smooth, super silky, and they're pretty tasty. I rooted around in the freezer, and I had two nice, these are actually stuffing squid, but I'm going to cut them into rings, as opposed to those little tiny ones. And when I got up this morning, I just put them in this little container with some little bit of half and half and some almond milk, because that's what I had in the house, and I let them soak. Aglio, always, garlic. I've got some dried basil from last summer, a couple of other dried herbs, a little thyme and a little rosemary. Parsley would be nice with this dish, but I'm fresh out. Going to use a little bit of saffron, just a couple little threads, not much. This is for the finish. This will be almost like a garnish. This is also from last summer. This is, I preserve my basil a few ways. I dry it, I hang the whole thing upside down, dry it, and then carefully take the leaves off and put them in a jar. But I'll also make pesto without the cheese and freeze it. So this will thaw, I'll put the cheese in, pesto, good as new. And last but not least, a little vino bianco. I don't know, maybe a third of a cup. And you know what to do with the rest. A nice Albarino I thought would go good with this dish. I had a Vernaccia di San Gimignano in my hand, but then I saw the Albarino and I thought, you know what, that's going to go nicely. Oh yeah, crispy baby. Let's do the prep. Okay, I already sliced my garlic. If you were with me on episode 009, chopping broccoli, you'll know why I did it in advance. We wanted to sit for 10 minutes. If you haven't seen that episode, go back and check it out. 009. I'm going to cut this squid. These are beautiful for stuffing, man. Just had them in the freezer. Doing about 1/4 inch to 3/8 rings. But also, here's something else I like to do, just for fun. I'm gonna do kind of the Chinese cut, all right? Get it opened up flat. I don't know, a couple of, let's see, what's a good size? Something like this, right? And then we do my X scores. This is just for fun. It gives a different texture. It'll cook up a different way. When you do that, they curl up in the hot sauce. All right, let me finish prepping this up. Oh, and by the way, I saved half and half and a little almond milk. Could just be whole milk. This is just what I happen to have. I didn't want to use all my half and half that I wanted for my coffee because I was getting a little low. So I keep almond milk in there to soak some oats. And I'm saving this liquid, and you'll see why in a minute. So let me finish cutting up this squid, and then we'll head over to the stove. Okay, let's go. Just put a flame under my pan. Oleo, extra virgin olive oil. Some people like a lighter olive oil to fry and to cook in. I only buy extra virgin. So less to keep track of. Remember from 009, 10-minute rest, and I'm putting it in cold oil. The garlic. Okay? Okay, got a nice sizzle started. This wasn't on the board over there, but maybe it's an afterthought, I don't know. Pepperoncini, crushed red pepper, never an afterthought. They actually live permanently on my stove. So as I came over, I saw them there. I'm going to bring this down a little so I don't burn my garlic. And I'm going to add the squid now. There's a thing with squid, because I want them to curl up, especially those ones that I put the crosshatch on. If I put them in this hot pan, they'll curl right up. See? Ones that I did the score on. Now, there's a thing with cooking squid, an old adage, 1 minute or 1 hour. I'm going to cook this pretty quick. This is a quick sauce. Okay? Matter of fact, I'm going to drop that pasta. Okay, vino. And that wine's cold, so I can crank up the heat a little. Okay, the wine's in. I'm going to add I took some of that saffron and I just added it to my thyme and rosemary. Let's get that in. A little of that dried basil from summer 2020. See? Yeah. You crack it, it's like a fresh herb. Kind of like your buds, you know? And a little pomodori. Not too much. This is a light, thin sauce. That's why I'm using these strained tomatoes. And then I love squid in a red sauce. But you know what I love better? Squid in a pink sauce. And why waste that? We soaked our squid in it. So it's got a little of that flavor going already. And there you go. These are pretty good sized squid. Black pepper and everything. Now, let's give this a check. It hasn't even blended yet, man. Garlic, white wine, saffron, some herbs, thyme, rosemary, and basil, tomato, and a little bit of that cream. Beautiful. Let's crank it up and bring it to a simmer. And that's it. It's only going to cook until the pasta's done. Okay, this pasta cooks up quick. Not quite as fast as a capellini, but quick. nice and al dente. And as I've mentioned in some previous episodes, I like to give it a little extra tooth because I want to cook it in the sauce a little. So it's got a nice bite to it. But if I drop it in that sauce, after releasing that starch, it's going to drink back in. So I don't like it overcooked. And now I can even crank up the heat a little here. Alright, I'm going to put some of this in a bowl. Let's see what we get. Turn the heat off. Before I put those squid on top, I want to clean off my bowl. Your plate should look as good as it tastes, if not better. Right? Clean that all up. Now, get a couple of squid, some rings, those Chinese cut. Yeah, here's one. That did what I wanted. All right. Now for a quick little garni, like I said, chopped parsley is usually my finish for these type of dishes, but I need to go shopping. I don't have any parsley, but what I do have is last summer's basil pesto. I just added a little of that Parmigiano Reggiano. Don't freeze it with the cheese in it. And this basil pesto is it's got some powerful flavor, so I don't need a lot. And last but not least, a little sauce on top, just for the visual, for the presentation, right? Fedellini con calamari. The moment of truth. Barigno, saluti e buon appetito. Let's see what we got here. My very first bite ever of fettuccine as a dish. I mean, I took a bite because I had to check the al dente, right? Damn. The first bite, I just wanted sauce, right? Garlic, white wine. You know, I thought about using a little anchovy with this. I also was talking about that in 009. I got a nice jar of salted anchovies. But I wanted to keep this super simple. Saffron, tomato, and cream. So now, I'm going to get a little bit of that pesto and one of those squid rings. This is freaking out of control, man. The squid, that's a practice thing, man. I've cooked squid a couple of 100 million times in my life. You just have to start getting a feel for how long, how hot, etc. But this is, when people say rubbery squid, I'm like, somebody didn't do you right. The squid is as al dente as the pasta. Alright, thanks for coming to my kitchen. Like, subscribe, don't talk with food in your mouth, and I'll see you for the next episode.